cable. If you're following us via the World Wide Web at www.gbn.gd, or you're following us via YouTube or our Facebook page. Indeed, we want to say thanks and welcome to the broadcast. Packed schedule for you, just to let you know. But I have two wonderful folks, and that's Sister Glenda, Bowen, and Pastor Elvis Hallaire. They're waiting in the wing for me, and I want to tell them thanks for their patience and understanding, given what is it we were dealing with now. Just to advise that we also are waiting to do a live link up from the folks from NADMA to give us a first-hand assessment as to what's happening on the field out there. But we have received reports of extensive flooding at different parts of the island. To the tongue of St. George in particular, we understand it has been inundated with water. And to put it this way, on a normal day, St. George's has its own challenges, so you can well appreciate what's happening now with the extensive downpour. Received reports of the tongue of St. George that is, as we've intimated, Grenville, the Balthazar area, and we've also received reports from NADMA of challenges in the Tempe area. So you want to keep that informed as you navigate your way, traverse from point A to point B. We continue to say to individuals that today's not necessarily a day that you want to be wantonly being on the street, but holistically we want to just encourage you to be cautious on the nation's road. In the midst of it, some say you still have to maintain a sense of normalcy, and we will attempt to do that. But in attempting to do that, we'll also want to make sure that we keep you reliably informed. I have two wonderful individuals, some from the Seventh-day Adventist congregation that's waiting on us. And again, we want to say thank you. Good morning to Glenda, Bowen, and Pastor Elvis Hallaire. Good morning to you, sir. Good morning to you, my dear lady.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Cadore.
Again, we say thank you for being part for joining us on the broadcast. And what is a really wet, overcast day in the nation's capital. We are in the hurricane season, and certainly, I'm almost so certain it's a conversation that you have with your congregation. Preparation, the same way you make spiritual preparations for heaven, you have to make physical preparations for not just when the blessings come down to water your spirit, but when it starts to water your house and the road and everything else that is around you. Isn't that correct?
Yes, you are correct. You are correct. So we want to just join you and GBN in just encouraging our listeners, our viewers, to be safe and listen to the official reports, official announcements from GBN, and by the grace of God, they will be safe. But we want to encourage your viewers and listeners to be safe. We want to say good morning to Glenda.
Good morning to you, sir. Good morning to you, lady. There's great news. There's always good news, the news of salvation. There's always something exciting happening. I know when it comes to your denomination, and certainly I know you're bursting with excitement. You're bursting with excitement to get this one out. Secrets out. We're not holding back again. Tell us. I know that you put some planning. There's been great anticipation into this one, and the countdown is on for its literally the unveiling. Let's get it all out in the open. Sister Glenda.
Yes. Good morning to everyone. We are very excited this morning because our boys and girls at the Grenada conference will be on fire for Jesus. They will be sharing the good news of salvation with the boys and girls in the community and in the world. It is a faith venture. Faith is the victory, is the theme of our program. And starting on Sunday night, this is what will be happening.
So put it in perspective, and I know, folks, we all naturally get excited when we hear children get involved. And probably I thought people are thinking, children, the preaching of the word, worship, really? Are they for real? This is 100% legitimate. So give us an appreciation as exactly what we can expect and why the need for this.
Well, thank you, Mr. Cadore. And as, of course, Sister Bowen rightly alluded, we are excited in the Glenda conference. I want to say we are living in a time of great problems, stress, many things are affecting people. We are living in a pandemic. Look, the system that is, around us and the flooding and all of that. So we are bombarded on every side with these sort of news, yeah. And as a church, Seventh-day Adventist Church here in Glenda, we always keep up good news and keep up faith, keep faith alive. And so we have looked at it and we realize that, of course, our children are very important and they play a very important part in reaching men and women and other young people or boys and girls like themselves, yes? So while we use the adults and we use the young people, there is a place for children in helping us to understand and to helping us, understand that God is in control and in helping us to, engender faith. And so hence the reason why our boys and girls have been selected. And I can tell you, Joseph, and I can tell you, our viewers, you are in for a great treat. It is 1 week of impactful preaching, singing, testimonies. I mean, you just name it. There is a little piece for everybody during this week.
You know what is always particularly interesting when you get children involved? The honesty and sincerity that comes with it. Now, if you ask an adult to do something, naturally, we tend to want to, I want to make sure I say it right, I want to make sure I act right, I want to make sure. But you ask a child to sing, or to pray, or to worship, and what you get from them is what really and truly emanates from deep within inside of them. There is no pretense to it.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. And they are always excited and willing to be part. And I can tell you, even as they prepare, as they gather themselves, I was around. Sister Bowen is certainly the director of children ministries within the Glenda conference. Wow. And I was part of the excitement and the buzz that the children create. As you say, they are excited to tell, they are excited to share. And as a matter of fact, they would volunteer.
Right.
Without ask. So we are in for something great from our young boys and girls.
Sister Bowen, as the leader of the Boys and Girls Department, intimate for us how important is it, not just in the context of having this week activity, but ensuring, knowing the challenging times that we're living in, the ease of raising children 30, 40, 50 years ago. Those challenges, they have multiplied by leaps and bounds. And certainly, we need to put special efforts in place and avenues and systems to keep our children safe, no doubt. And certainly, for the conference, you're playing your part in ensuring exactly that.
Yes, Mr. Cadore. It is very difficult to raise children now, but with the help of God, we are managing. And it's not only for this impact, our children is being involved. For instance, we have the Vacation Bible School that we normally have during the July-August break from school. We have storytelling time, neighborhood Bible club. We have so many different activities that we keep our boys and girls involved in. Not only the boys and girls in the church, but we invite the community to be with us when we have those activities. So we are keeping them from trouble when they are together with us, and we are also lifting them up spiritually.
So that event, I'm assuming there is reminders of the name of it, and is there a specific theme under which the week of activities is being held?
Yes, the theme is Faith is the Victory. And so the children will be talking a lot about faith. Like, for instance, the key of faith. Ignite your faith in God. The backpack of faith. The shield of faith versus the fiery dart. And imagine that. The most powerful secret weapon. All these topics the children will be delving into to share with the community and the worldwide.
you can well appreciate that. I would assume that there's always going to be the naysayers. There are those as myself who would with open arms embrace what is it you're doing, and there are those who, for whatever reason, will start saying, really, children talking about faith, do they really understand this? What would your response, Pastor Hallaire, be to those that's challenging the sincerity of a child being able to communicate on issues of faith to an adult?
Yes, thank you very much, and good question. Of course, I should let you know that we are dealing with children. When we say children, we are dealing with the children from 1 day old, if you please, to 12, 13 years. So when we talk children who are going to be involved of the age range, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, they are big children, yeah? And certainly they have had their own experience with the Lord, with Jesus. Yes, they have had their experience, and one of the greatest testimonies that one can give is a testimony of how Jesus has impacted his or her life. Yes? And so the children have had their experiences, and so they are going to share. They are going to do their thing in their way to encourage us. And faith is the victory. Of course, we are challenged on every side. People undertake different things, and it's not only in a religious sense, spiritual sense, that too, but we are encouraging persons that whatever good that you have undertaken, have faith, press on, continue, don't give up. And of course, also for those who might be struggling spiritually, let them know that there is hope. Don't give up. God is with us. He's on our side. And children will be saying that in their way, right? So they've had their own experiences. And also, Mr. Cadore, I always say to people that we see children and they are involved in a lot of different things in our communities and in our societies. Lots of different activities. Some are good, some are noble, others are not so noble, if you please. But can they be engaged in sharing something of a spiritual nature? Of course, yes, they can. And so we want to encourage Grenada, we want to encourage our viewers and our listeners to get ready and to listen and to support our young ones. We live in a time where we are talking, I listen to your news clippings and your news bulletins from time to time. I listened to interview just this week. I think you had an interview with somebody ahead of the Special Victims Unit, and they were highlighting issues surrounding children and those who molest and so on.
Right.
Children are important, and they are taking their stand in different ways. And as a church, we are saying that for that 1 week, our children will share with us and encourage us in this.
And children exercising their faith, the role of children, and it's important. The Bible have actually, there's a lot of examples, literally. The scriptures, it said, suffer the little children to come unto me. And there is, of course, young Samuel, and there are other accounts in the Bible. But it's interesting, for me as a parent, to me, one of the most comforting and things that could, in the middle of a storm, is if you have a child, when you're going through a difficult time, and a child would come to you and say, Mommy, Daddy, it's going to be okay. Because the truth is, we worry about them. We worry about them. And in this difficult time, if you can have a child that say, you know what, Daddy, things are hard, Mommy, things are hard, but trust God. That to me is as compelling a message from any source that you can possibly think of.
Yes, I do.
Sister Bowen?
Go ahead, Sister Bowen. Go ahead.
And that is why at church we teach our children these principles, these values, so that they can build a confidence on God. So anytime these little difficulties come up, they know who is in charge and who they can depend on, and so that they can pass it on to the parents, as you rightly said.
Indeed. So again, remind us, it happens this weekend, and I'm assuming you'll be using the different platforms to get that message outside.
Yes, so we are beginning on 7 p.m. this Sunday. But of course, tomorrow, please God, from 9 a.m., the children will be, just priming up and getting ready and so on. And I want to let Grenada know, let your viewers, listeners know that, of course, they can tune in. They can go on Facebook, or on YouTube, Mission Live GND. Mission Live GND, right? And once you type in Mission Live GND, you will see once the program has started at 7 p.m., you will certainly be on right there. Mission Live GND. You type in at Facebook, YouTube, and you will get the prompt. Also, we also have a registration link. We don't have it right now, but we have the link set up that maybe after you can talk to us and we can send the link for you. If you're interested, listen, we send you that registration for where you can register. And every day we will send you that link. We will send you that link. So if you do not need to go to Facebook or YouTube, we'll send you that link. You just click that link at 7 and it takes you right there for that program. Also, Flow Channel 31, they have partnered with us and they have been partnering with us to also bring this special event live. Yes, so Flow 31 will be partnering with us in this matter.
There is a general theme, no doubt. There is a general theme, no doubt. But is there specific sub-themes for each of the different nights?
Oh yes, Mr. Cadore, and that's why I told you with the children we'll be talking about the key to faith. The one, ignite your faith in God.
Right.
Faith as a mustard seed. The shield of faith versus the fiery darts. A backpack of faith. The most powerful weapon. You want to know what is the most powerful secret weapon? That will be taking place on Friday night. So each night we have a topic for that.
Okay, so is this the first time you having an event of this nature?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Virtually.
Right.
First time for the children.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to add, we have, of course, engaged our children. And I want to go back to something earlier. Not only Mr. Cadore for the children to share with their parents, but we are giving these values to these children and getting them involved in positive things so that as they grow and they themselves turn young people and they turn adults, they have these values of faith and so on. Now, this is really the first time virtually. Of course, we would have maybe used a church, used a tent or some community center, and the children have been sharing, singing and preaching and so on. But we are in a pandemic, and so we recognize that we have to observe the protocols and so on. It might not be feasible. So we are taking this thing virtual, right? We are doing it virtual. So it's the first time that the children are going virtual with something like this. And trust me, it's going to be great. It's going to be good.
It is going to be great. It is going to be good. You almost suddenly reminds me of one of those animated series that the kids normally look at, which is going to be great. It's going to be great. Indeed, it is going to be great. I think one of the strongest medium to influence change is that of children. And very often we underestimate the impact. And if you don't understand the impact of the children they have, take a child to the supermarket with you and put them standing by the cereal aisles. So mommy's watching one thing, and I could bet you by the time that child is finished with you, mommy's forgetting all about what she thought she wanted to buy, and that child tongue and pull, mommy, no. I mean, children is interested in when they buy into a concept, they hold on to it. Hold on to it. Before we wrap, though, we initially talked about the challenges that the society faces. And let's just talk about the role of the church, not just in dealing with our young people, the children, but certainly introducing the spirit of the news of salvation to what you would no doubt describe as a lost and dying world.
Mm-hmm. Right, yes, well, thank you. The church certainly has a great role in these times and is playing a great role. The Seventh-day Adventist Church is really on board and, on the ball with this in a number of areas. And when we say the role of the church, especially in these difficult times, I want to extend it not only to the spiritual aspect. Yes, the church is a spiritual entity, but the church is also involved and participating in a number of social activities and to address the psychosocial needs of persons, especially in these trying times. Yes, and the church is well poised. I mean, time would not allow me to tell you all that we do, but certainly the church has a role and is playing a very great role in that aspect with our young people, with our adults, with the community, our food distribution programs, our counseling programs. I'm telling you, we have a cadre of counselors, our health programs, healthy living. If you know Mr. Cadore, we are out doing health checks, taking it to the community, different entities, and so on. So the church is the Seventh-day Adventist Church is well involved in helping to meet the many needs that people are facing at this time.
And you would agree, Sister Bowen, before we leave, that is the church's role is not just about taking you to heaven, but also enjoying, as the Bible says, to make your use of your time here on planet Earth. Yes, the ultimate goal is to get to heaven, but He wants us to enjoy our livelihood, our time here on Earth as well.
Wonderful, wonderful, Mr. Cadore. And so this is why we involve them in every aspect. And we have the clubs, the pathfinders and the adventurers, the master guides. And so they are involved in all these as social. We don't only keep them in church. We play games with them, cricket, we go on hike. We do all sorts of things with them to keep them happy on this earth.
Indeed. It is always good when, I think, whichever, doesn't matter which organization it is, but when, especially you feel particularly happy when the church is leading the charge in engagements that speaks directly to our young people. I think it speaks volume. And certainly, I want to commend you for the exercise and certainly hope that it is one that grows from strength to strength. I wish you all the best in the event this weekend. The children, they get into gear tomorrow, and then come Sunday, they launch out in the deep.
Yes.
Indeed, they launch out in the deep. Pastor Hallaire, Sister Glenda Bowen, we want to say thank you for being part of the program. And we want to encourage you, parents outside of there, find an avenue of something that keeps your children positively influenced, and this certainly augurs well. Summer's coming up. Before we run, you have anything planned for the summer?
Oh yes, we have the Vacation Bible School. There is a church in each community, and the leaders are there, and they will tell the children to invite a friend when it starts. But
we're going to take care of this weekend first, launching out in faith, and then we'll wait for the summer to come. Thank you, Pastor Hallaire. Thank you, Sister Glenda Bowen. All the best to you. Again, we want to say thanks for those of you that's viewing on television. We continue here. This is GBN's television, and we say thanks to our viewers on Channel 7 and Channel 11. Those of you that's also on cable on Channel 20, as we continue to follow the passage of Tropical Storm Elsa. We're attempting to make a link up with our friends at NADMA. Certainly at the top of the hour in the midday edition, we provide you more extensive coverage. But just to remind you, those of you that is on television, that we receive notification and advisory from NADMA regarding reports of rockfall in the Brazan area. So we're encouraging caution. We've also had an advisory regarding persons plying the Riverwood area. Riverwood is totally inundated by water. I've personally seen videos, and it is rendered totally impassable. The Balthazar area, the Grenville area, most of the town of St. George. So you certainly will want to keep that in mind. I've also heard of some challenges in the Tantine area. Tantine area, as you know, is a flood-prone area. But certainly wherever you are across the Tri-Island state, Carriacou, we understand you're getting extensive amount of rainfall. We just want to encourage you to stay safe, Grenada. No heroics as it is. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we continue right here on Classic and on GBN Television to keep you informed and entertained in the midst of what is the early and active start of the hurricane season. Quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Montreal, it's time to line virtually one more time. Gemma Rayburn Baines here for Spice Island Cultural Festival, a celebration of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. This summer's festival is a celebration of life with food, fashion, music, and culture. Join us online Saturday, July 10th, 3 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube at Spice Island Cultural Festival. Info, spiceislandculturalday.com.
COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new coronavirus introduced to humans for the first time. It is spread from person to person, mainly through the droplets produced when an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby. These droplets are too heavy to travel far in the air. They only travel approximately 1 meter and quickly settle on surfaces. This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time that the virus can survive on surfaces is not yet known. So it is wise to clean surfaces regularly, particularly in the vicinity of people infected with COVID-19. Hands touch many surfaces, which can be contaminated with the virus. You should therefore avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, since contaminated hands can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with the bend of your elbow or use a disposable tissue. If a tissue is used, discard it immediately into a closed bin. The most effective way to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus is to clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. This will eliminate the virus if it is on your hands. Stay healthy and prevent the spread of COVID-19.
You know, one day I woke up and, they painted a set of pedestrian crossing all along the streets. Nobody told us how to use that thing properly.
I know how.
You're serious?
Every safe, good driver knows about these things. As a driver, you have to be very attentive. You know you're coming up close to a pedestrian cross, you start slowing down immediately, looking to see if there's any pedestrian on the side getting ready to cross. If there is, you stop on the line that is a certain distance before the crosswalk. Then you would see the pedestrian put their hands out, looking directly at you, indicating that they are going to cross. And only when you have come to a complete stop, that is when they will quickly and safely cross to the other side. And then you continue happily on your journey.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact, wait for pedestrian to cross. Then you happily continue on your journey.
This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
Skin
Midday Edition, a production of our News and Current Affairs Department. But certainly we want to say thanks for those of you that's just rejoining us on television as we continue to monitor the impact of Tropical Storm Elsa as it's having here on the sister isle of Grenada. Now, we've received advisory notifications from NADMA advising motorists in the Brazan area as it relates to reports of rock falls in the area. That's the Brazan area. There has been reports of rock falls. So you want to keep yourself in the know. Due care and attention as you traverse the nation's roads. There's also an advisory regarding motorists. You are encouraged to use alternative routes as the following areas: River Road, Balthazar Bridge, the Tongue of Grenville, and the south of the island, and Tempe, right? You are advised to consider alternative routes, because some of these areas have been inundated with large amount of water, and so you want to be cautious. You want to just be careful as a rule. We know traditionally Tantine has always been under sea level, and it's just a flood-prone area. So if you while it has not been made official, we have received reports of flooding or high levels of water increased volumes of water in the Tantine area. Let me just look now and go through the last update that we received from NADMA as it relates to tropical right. So the last update we received was informing us that Tropical Storm Elsa had strengthened to a Category 1 hurricane. And the last update showed that Elsa was centered at latitude 12.9 degrees north, longitude 59.8 degrees west, about 112 nautical miles northeast of Grenada. According to the advisory, the center of the system passed just south of Barbados and continues to support torrential rain, thunderstorms, and gusty winds across Barbados and the northern Windward Islands and the Leeward Islands. Grenada, according to the advisory, is currently experiencing overcast conditions in light to heavy thunderstorms from the effect of the outer bands of the system. The system will continue, according to the advisory, on a northwesterly track across the northern Windward Islands or the southern Leeward Islands. That's today, Friday. So certainly we will continue. The system, it says, it is expected to bring showers and thunderstorms to Grenada and the rest of the Windward Islands. So this is the latest advisory, and it continues to say that Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique can expect cloudy to overcast conditions with showers, which may become heavy, and thunderstorms accompanied by gusty winds today. Some residual showers can also be expected tomorrow. The likelihood of significant impact is greater for the sister isles of Carriacou and Petite Martinique. And the official release ends by saying that a hurricane warning has been issued for Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and St. Lucia. Grenada remains under a tropical storm watch at the same time. So this is the last update as received from NADMA. Once we start having conversation of tropical storms and hurricane, personally, there's always questions would be asked regarding NADMA's preparedness. How prepared am I? And certainly, NADMA and other officials have always advised of the need to be prepared, the need to have a health plan, a family plan, not a health plan, a family plan. What happens in the eventuality of one of these natural disasters? And certainly over the years there's been questions regarding the shelters. Well, we can tell you that NADMA, they've released the list of designated shelters. Now, not today, that is. That list we've had since early in the season. The list of primary shelters for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique So I'm just going to go through it as of now, looking at the list of primary shelters for in St. Andrew, right? The list of primary shelters in St. Andrew. So you have the Mamacan Resource Center, you have Holy Cross RC School, there's Union Community Center, Holy Innocent Anglican School, Holy Cross Roman Catholic School, Maranatha Church, St. Mary Roman Catholic School, Mirabor Pentecostal Church, Mirabor SDA Church, St. Andrew's Roman Catholic School, there's St. Joseph Convent, that's referring to Grenville, a Telescope Primary School, and the Soubise SDA Church. So this is the list of, right, and it continues. For the list of primary shelters in St. Andrew, there's the Paraclete Government School, Birch Grove New Testament Church, Paradise SDA Church, La Poterie SDA Church, Monlong Pentecostal Campsite, Bel Air Government School, Pearls Community Center, Moya SDA Church, Tivoli Roman Catholic School, La Poterie SDA Church, and Fawn Priest School. These here are the authorized designated list of primary shelters in St. Andrew. It's quite an extensive list, and certainly we will continue to provide you with as much relevant details as you need. So these are the primary shelters in St. Andrew. They've also provided a list of secondary shelter, and certainly we'll attempt to get one of the folks from NADMA so we can get an appreciation as to exactly when we speak to primary shelter, secondary shelter, exactly how that process works. For the secondary shelters, there is Monlong SDA, St. Matthew's RC, St. Michael's RC, Mount Horn SDA Church, Mirabor Community Center, Dunfermline Evangelical Center, Upper St. John's SDA Church, there's Marquee Preschool, Grand Bra Community Center, and Hafford Village Community Center. So there you have it, the list of shelters, both primary and secondary shelters for St. Andrew. Again, to give you the latest update as it relates to a tropical storm, Elsa. Let me just make sure I get you the right one, because certainly NADMA and the team, they have done an excellent job of keeping us in the know. While we get to that, though, just reminding you, those of you you're probably at home, you're on the road, wherever you are, traffic advisory, of course, advising motorists to be cautious, to exercise caution in the Brazil area. NADMA, they've been reports of rockfall in that area, and certainly you've also been advised to be cautious, that's for the motoring public, in the River Road area, Balthazar Bridge, Grenville Town, and the south of the island, and as well as Tempe. So what is it as it relates to what is the latest advisory coming from NADMA? The latest advisory is that Tropical Storm Elsa has strengthened to a Category 1 hurricane. And as of the last update, the center of the storm was located latitude 12.9 degrees north and longitude 59.8 degrees west, about 112 nautical miles off Grenada. The system will continue on a west-northwesterly track across the northern Windward Islands or the southern Leeward Islands today. Grenada, Carriacou, and Pretty Martin can expect cloudy to overcast conditions with showers which may become heavy and thunderstorms accompanied by gusty wind. Some residual showers can also be expected on Saturday. The likelihood of significant impact is greater for the sister isles of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. The latest advisory there coming from NADMA. It's about 8 minutes on to the hour of 12 o'clock. Reminding you at the top of the hour is going to be the midday edition, a production of our news and current affairs department. So until then, keep tuned in to Classic Radio and GBN Television as we continue to monitor the passage of Tropical Storm Elsa, which, according to officials, it has been upgraded and has strengthened to a Category 1 hurricane. Just keep it locked on Classic and GBN Television as we continue to provide you update as it becomes available from the authorities. The Luncheon Edition comes up next right here on Classic 105.5 and 105.9 on the FM band. So long, everybody.